hallelujah.
I feel that it's great, you know, a lot less coming out of my pocket.
I love it.
Gas under $2 a gallon.
I'm thrilled.
Under $1.50. Last year, falling pump prices put an extra $115 billion in Americans' pockets. The price of oil has dipped below $30 a barrel. It's all good, right? One big boost to the economy. What does this symbolize?
The crash.
Well, not so fast. In West Texas, $30 a barrel oil means a deepening economic disaster. What is this?
It's a drilling contractor's yard.
Now, during the boom, what would this have looked like?
Empty. Completely empty.
To oil field consultant Mike Rasco, this parking lot for drilling rigs symbolizes the American oil and gas industry going broke. In just the last year, more than 900 rigs were idled. The U.S. total down 60%. So each one of these rigs represents how many unemployed people?
I'd say 1,000 at least.
Each one?
Absolutely.
And how many do you think are sitting here?
We quit counting when they got into the 30s.
On the road between Midland and Odessa, it's all there to see. The collateral damage caused by low-price oil. The auction lots for heavy equipment no longer needed. For the repossessed cars and trucks of the people who've lost their jobs. The pump jacks that aren't pumping.
A gallon of water is worth more than a gallon of crude oil right now.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. That's another drilling rig. That's north of town.
Until he was laid off last spring, Mike Rasco made $1,800 a day overseeing projects for a major oil company. Worldwide, the oil and gas industry has cut more than 275,000 jobs since oil prices peaked at over $100 a barrel in mid-2014. Why? For starters, demand for oil fell. In the past, OPEC has cut production in response. Not this time.
Before the oil price collapsed, the assumption was that OPEC would underpin the oil price by cutting production. But the key oil producers in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf states, said that we're not going to cut unless other people cut. We collect.
Daniel Yergin is vice chairman of IHS, an international information company, and the Pulitzer Prize-winning author of The Prize, A History of Oil.
Saudi Arabia's basic strategy is to maintain its market share in the global oil market, and that's really been the starting point for them.
At the expense of everybody else?
Yes.
So began a huge game of chicken, with Saudi Arabia and its OPEC partners pumping full blast, Russia too, and the United States. You've heard of fracking? Pumping water into shale formations to free hard-to-get-at oil and gas? Well, fracking meant that the United States suddenly was producing a lot more oil. So much that for the first time in 40 years, we're exporting it.
U.S. oil production went from 5 million barrels a day in 2008 to 9.7 million barrels a day in April of 2015. In other words, U.S. oil production almost doubled in a matter of just a few years.
During the good years, Midland and Odessa, Texas turned into boom towns. Same story in Williston, North Dakota. Based on $100 a barrel oil, entrepreneurs borrowed billions of dollars to buy into the bonanza. Workers flocked to the oil patch.
I heard about all this big money, so I thought I could get a little piece of that pie, I suppose.
So many they had to live in trailer camps, on cots in church halls. Then the price crashed, thanks in large part to China's slowing economy. The Saudis and their Gulf state neighbors, with their deep pockets and low-cost oil production, kept pumping and settled in to wait for their competitors to flinch.
If prices continue to be low,
We will be able to withstand it for a long, long time.
The chairman of Aramco, the Saudi state-owned oil company, earlier this month. Feeling the pain in addition to the United States, Russia and Venezuela. And the Saudis' hope, Iran, about to come back into the oil market in a big way after the lifting of sanctions.
The Gulf countries are convinced that Iran has a plot to encircle them, and so this is really not just about oil that's going on, but it's really about the future of the Middle East.
Meanwhile, every day the world is producing something like 1.5 million more barrels of oil than it needs. There's an ocean of it out there, in massive storage tanks. And right now, at least 100 million barrels are sitting in tankers parked at sea. This past week, the price of crude rose to nearly $36 a barrel on the merest possibility that the Russians and Saudis might talk about cutting production. But even if it happens, sopping up that surplus will take time, which oilfield consultant Mike Rasko knows only too well.
We joke around here saying things are picking up. They're picking up the house, they're picking up the car, you know. It hits everybody just as hard, but maybe in different ways.
What's your situation?
They picked up the truck. What I do my business out of, my pickup, it's gone. My wife, through stress, has been hospitalized over all of this, you know.
Mike Rasko just wants to hang on to his home. He never lived lavishly, even when he could have, so he could weather the bad times. Born and raised in West Texas, this is the 4th bust he's lived through. He knows it will end. As he looks for work every day, he just wonders when. How hard is it to keep your morale up?
It's over. I don't have any morale left. I'm out of pride. I've got a beautiful wife and 2 good babies to take care of. I do it because I want to be a good husband. I'll be a good oilman when it comes back around.